I never made that connection.
No, I never, never did that.
Good connection.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, just give them sugar for energy, but they can't even use it.
Over here, each of you have just one question.
Okay.
Just ask you how difficult it was, the content.
Okay.
So just to confirm, like very high means it was hard for us to comprehend. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it to comprehend or like to focus on what we were learning?
Both of them.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I can continue together. Next.
Okay. So type.
You want to go? You want me to go?
I can go.
Okay.
Type 1, they don't produce any insulin, and so their beta cells pretty much just don't produce any. So they pretty much need insulin to survive, like the injections and stuff. And type 2 is they're producing insulin, but their body doesn't know how to use it,
Like their cells aren't.
resistant.
Yeah,
They're
there's.
resistant to it. They don't,
Yeah, they don't. The
So
receptors
it's like
don't
they can have the
recognize
insulin
it.
floating around, but it doesn't like open the door.
You have a broken key.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, patients with type 2 diabetes are often treated with oral medications. In the same manner as patients with type 2, they require insulin injections. So type 1 needs insulin because they're not producing it, whereas type 2, they can't, their cells aren't opening, and so the oral medications focus on opening the gates rather than
Why
giving
would
more
their body
insulin.
respond to the injected insulin or the oral insulin versus their own body's insulin? Is it because they're producing defective insulin?
Well, I don't think it, I think it's type 2 is more focused on like their cells just aren't recognizing the insulin.
Yeah. So why would they be able to recognize an oral one versus the ones that they're already making? I just made that connection. I was like,
I don't know.
well, maybe we'll learn that.
Okay, so this one, it's a lot like the other model that we looked at before, but this is a beta cell instead of a muscle cell.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a look here and you see how it's a different color, and do you notice anything else that's different on this one?
Yeah, this one has the little K plus.
Yeah, that's potassium.
This used to be the insulin receptor.
Yeah, so right now this is actually doing a different thing since it's a different cell in the body. Do you know where beta cells are located?
No.
In the pancreas.
Okay.
Because the pancreas, do you know one of the things the pancreas does that, with respect to insulin?
Doesn't it help process sugars?
Well, it's actually where insulin in the body is made.
Produced.
Yeah, so
Okay.
these are the cells that would be doing the insulin production.
And so these are the insulin
Yeah.
keys.
Yeah.
And does that say insulin that gate?
Yeah, it does. So you notice the insulin is inside the cell.
Mm-hmm.
And
Instead
so,
of outside of it.
yeah,
like before.
yeah. So that insulin that gets over to the muscle cell later, it's made here and doesn't get out into the bloodstream until it gets out of this cell.
Out of this. And I noticed these are GLUT2 instead of.
Yeah, so it's a different kind of transporter.
Okay. Should we watch it?
Yeah. So this is with a healthy patient. And what do you see that's kind of the same or different from before?
So this one it's still producing energy, the ATP.
Yep.
And this potassium's leaving. And in our other model we had.
Well, one thing you can do is click on one of the potassium molecules, and you can see where it goes. So the potassium was leaving the cell.
I'm trying to figure out what opens this potassium gate.
Yeah, so that's a little bit tricky. What happens here is that the GLUT2 Transporters are open, and so then you see what's going through there?
The glucose.
Yeah, the glucose, and then when the glucose gets in the mitochondria and it produces
ATP.
Yeah, and so there's all the ATP in there. So when, in this model, when you get to a certain amount of ATP, then
This gate opens.
yeah, then that gate opens. Okay, so have you heard about like basal insulin levels?
So there's the potassium.
Is that like the base level that it needs to be at?
Yeah, it is. So if you point over here to where it looks like the base,
Okay.
a little higher. Yeah, that's like, so this would be the basal. I'm right here on the glucose. We can go to like the red. So that's the basal insulin.
Okay.
Now, you remember what you did that made the insulin number go up?
Wait, candy.
Ray candy, right. And so that would be an increase, and so that would be the bolus.
Okay.
B-O-L-U-S. I don't know if you've seen that before. So there's the basal level where if you don't add...
So the basal level is right around 30.
For this patient, yeah. And then the bolus spikes, and then it'll come back eventually to the basal again.
Okay.
But remember, this is different from the muscle cell because this is producing the insulin. It's not using the insulin.
Okay.
You want to run it some more, and if you have other questions about it.
So remind me, what are these, the green potassium? What is that doing again?
The glucose comes in and gets the mitochondria, which then produces ATP. And when there's a certain amount of ATP that's being produced, then that will trigger the closure of the potassium channel. And what that does is there's a bunch of other things that involve other ions, but that leads to changing how much insulin is getting produced in the beta cell.
So the more potassium, the more insulin.
So when the potassium channels close, then there's more potassium staying inside of the cell, and ultimately, yeah, that will turn into more insulin being produced.
Okay.
Okay, so let's, this is set on healthy right now. Go ahead and change it over to type 1 diabetes. All right, and then go. So what happened when you did that?
Oh, the insulin really.
Right, so that section over there, down by the insulin
Is that?
in the cell. Yeah, you can see it there too. I was actually looking up in the big picture there. Yeah, so those key things disappeared. So with type 1 diabetes, the beta cells don't produce insulin at all. So that's part of why they have to artificially administer insulin, because their bodies aren't producing it. All right. Take a look then at type 2 diabetes. So just go ahead and use the same one. Type 2. So what's happened here?
And there's a few insulin cells, but not very many.
Yeah, so some insulin molecules, not very many, especially when you compare it back when we saw like the healthy ones.
And you can see, so this is the type 1.
Yeah, that was ours type 1.
And now this is where it's type 2.
When you switch the thing to type 2, so now the insulin levels are higher, definitely than type 1 because there wasn't any, but not nearly as high as when it was healthy. So with type 2 diabetes, the body, the beta cells in the pancreas are still producing insulin, but not as much. So, have you heard of glipizide before?
No, but I'm assuming it's a medication because it sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also under the medication section down there. So go ahead and let's give 5 milligrams, so that'll be 2 clicks. You see the glipizide, the flying G's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you see that one that stopped all of a sudden up top there?
Yeah, it's blocking the potassium from leaving the beta cell.
Yeah, so you see how it's red. And so if you remember from before, when there's glucose, goes through the GLUT4 transporters, converted to ATP in the mitochondria. And usually when there is enough ATP, the potassium channel would close. This will artificially close the potassium channel.
So that can produce more inside the